Oh, yeah. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Hello, replay viewers. Hello, Mom. I'm going to read some names here in the chat. Mr. Kyle Miller, Mrs. Becca Johnson, Brandon Abat, Lakshman. Hi, Mom. Love you, Mom. Andrew, David Perry,
Hello,
Flunky.
David.
Lakshman, Katie Goldstein. What's your second favorite color? Probably blue. I think purple takes the lead, but blue is a close second, and maybe pink too. Can you tell that this is? Maybe you can tell if this is pink. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. God, I haven't said the date like that.
That's super loose. Don't mess with it too much.
I won't.
I can just hear
it. I won't. We're streaming today on a Thursday because tomorrow we're not streaming. Tomorrow we have our company recess, which I'm really excited about. It only happens like once every few months, but it's a really good way for the teams to like meet each other in a not work environment. I'm really, really excited about that. And that's Pierre right there. Yeah, open. Make sure you have live chat enabled. And love from Tunisia. Are you on our wait list, Mohammed? Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I guess some just like housekeeping stuff. Get on the wait list, hu.ma.ne/waitlist, or just click the button from there. Join the Discord if you're not on the Discord yet. I uploaded a YouTube video last week talking about my life at Humane, filmed on this couch. Not exactly shot at this angle per se. Oh, nice. That looks sick.
Nice.
And that's Sai right there.
Hey, guys. I don't know.
So Colin is sitting next to me, as you can see, running the live stream with the switcher
That's
here.
what this hand's doing.
We like to continue evolving the setup. And so we decided to just sort of do it in the middle of this open space here. It looks, I mean, just to give you perspective.
Yeah.
And so the kitchen where we usually do the streams, if you go to my camera, Colin, the kitchen is behind us this way. And then let's see, Sai's cam. Yeah, so there's just a wall behind Sai. And then
That's your camera.
and then yeah. So if you want to address the camera directly,
There
yeah.
you go. That's
exactly
it.
right.
Perfect.
Everyone.
Exactly right. Okay. Blue is very nice. I would agree. Okay. Laptop is lid is going down. And the doorbell rings. Okay.
Perfect.
Let's kick things off. Sai, go ahead and introduce yourself, my friend.
All right. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Kambampati. I am an intern here at Humane. I've been here for almost 2 months now, and I'm a software engineering intern. Yeah.
Sai, what I usually do on the stream here is I like to rewind the clock as far back
Okay.
as our brains let us. Starting with sort of the general, like, where you from, where'd you grow up, that sort of, open it up here. Be as expansive as you want.
All right. Let's take it from the tip top. So I was born in Sacramento, California. Shout out Sacktown.
Is that what it's
2
called?
hours-
Sacktown?
I
That's
love
what
that.
people call that.
Is that really a
love
thing?
it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 2 hours north of here, San Francisco. About 2 hours. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was born over there. Both my parents are IT professionals, so I kind of grew up in that computer world for a long time. Yeah, and then when I was 10 years old, we moved to India. Yeah, so I was just wrapping up 4th grade. We moved to India to take care of my grandparents at the time. And we were there for 3 years. So that was from 2011 to 2014. And basically I did my 5th, 6th, and 7th grade in India. And honestly, that was a crazy experience in a really good way. Kind of shaped the entire trajectory of my life, because had I not gone to India, I don't think I'd be here and working
Like
with
here right now,
computers.
present with us.
Well, here right now, some of actions, consequences of our actions, but also I wouldn't be in this IT coding sort of space, just engineering, just because I took my first programming class when I was in India, and I was like, this is awesome. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
What was the catalyst while you were in India that led you down this path to take a computer programming class?
Yeah, so at the time, right back when I was in the States, CS education really wasn't very well established in elementary schools. But it was the opposite case in India. So in my school, it was like a mandatory class you had to take. You had to take this computer class. It was required.
Do you remember what it was called?
I do
Just
not.
like
but
computers.
Probably, yeah. It was probably just like computer class or something like that. But I remember what we learned, which was, I was in 5th grade. We were learning HTML, CSS. So I was building websites for the very first time. I was like, this is crazy. Like, of course, they were like kind of like basic, your little text and a little serif
Wait, what
font
year
and
was
everything.
this?
This was 2011, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in 5th
Okay.
grade. Yeah, and then the following year we did Python. So I like to joke that I learned Python before it was cool because that's the language that people use for machine learning and all sorts of cool stuff now. But this was like Python 2. So this was 2012. But it was so much fun, man. It was insane. I was like, this is so cool.
Were you in like a computer lab?
Yeah. No, this was a computer lab. We had like, a medium-sized room with 30 or so computers. Everyone got their own little computer.
PC or Mac? Where did you learn on? PC?
All Windows, yeah.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah.
So you got exposure to computer programming at the age of 12, 13?
Yeah. 11, 12, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Sneha was saying something similar where like nowadays there's a lot of emphasis and focus on STEM education from like a young age.
Yeah.
And I think that it is like crucially important to at least give kids the opportunity to even know about this, like some people, I feel like we've spoke like some people here didn't discover computer science until their 20s,
until they
and
went to
if
college or
it's something that you like I was using a video camera when I was 12, 13 years old, and I think that when you have these things in your life when you're a kid, they are way more, you're way more accepting of them, and it doesn't feel like it's being forced on you in a sense, and it's like a fun, new, cool thing for you. So you stuck with it then, Sai.
I stuck with it. Yeah, no, I fell in love with this notion of like, I could think it and I could create it, which I guess like, goes to really anything outside of just coding, right? But as someone who worked with computers a lot, I was like, oh, if I want my computer to do this, I could, write the logic for this and build this app or build this website that could do what I wanted to do. And so I fell in love with that and I stuck with it.
Did you have a computer in the house in Sacramento, in Sacktown?
Yeah. So, oh God, this was like, I don't even know what version of Windows this was, but we had a Windows, like, it was a desktop computer. My parents had like work laptops, right? And these were these ugly HP, Dell, plastic gray laptops, as companies provide you with. And I remember when I think it was shortly before we left for India. My dad walked in one day and he's holding the most gorgeous laptop I've ever seen, and it's the silver aluminum MacBook Pro. And I remember thinking, like, I was like 10 years old at the time. I was like, this is from the moon. Like, this is straight up from the moon. Like, it was radical. Like, I've never seen a computer like that before. And I like opened it, and like everyone has their first experience with Apple. And like I think that was the day I like became like a fan of Apple and Apple products. But yeah, after like 10 years of looking at like these plastic enclosures, and that's what I thought a laptop was. Seeing this MacBook Pro was insane. And so when we were in India, we had that Mac at home. And I, familiarized myself with surfing the web and discovering a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, at home, we
PC.
had
So
PC.
PCs in the
PC
house.
and
But were you tinkering
Was I tinkering?
as a kid? As a small child?
Yeah. No, I kind of discovered early on that like I was really into like kids movie stuff like Alvin and the Chipmunks and whatnot, and I kind of discovered at an early age you could just type alvinandthechipmunks.com and it would take you to this website where like there would be related games, promotional stuff for the movies. In hindsight, I realized how dangerous that could have been because I could have typed, maybe something and got something else, right? Luckily, that never happened. But yeah, no,
But no computer programming before you had gone to
no
India.
computer programming before then. Yeah.
Wow.
I would see like my dad or my mom type stuff on the laptop, and it would just be white characters on a black screen, and sometimes they would like entertain me by like printing my name or something like 100 times, and I'd like see my name fly across the screen. I'm like, oh, that's cool, but like I never really like took initiative, I guess, to see how do you actually do that. Not until India, of course, the computer
So
class,
you were
yeah.
familiar with computers then when you were in India and had to, as part of the curriculum, take
Yeah.
a class.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. And they started, you said, with HTML?
You started with HTML,
Basic
yeah.
HTML. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Python.
And then Python.
And then?
I don't fully remember. It was a specific Microsoft application. It was Visual Basic, I think that's what it was called. Yeah, I think that might have been my first, again, like my memories like testing me here, but I think it was like we could drag and drop buttons in there, and
Yep.
it was like something similar to like, building an app of sorts. But yeah, that was like, I think in my third year. And then after that third year, we moved back from India back to Sacramento. And so,
Wow.
yeah, that was, those
Did you
3
pick
years
up
really shaped.
a new language?
So yeah, that's where the story gets interesting,
Yeah.
because I was back here for 8th grade. We didn't have.
That's crazy.
computer.
So you left your middle school, like you left during middle school,
At the end of elementary school.
at
actually.
elementary
Yeah.
school, excuse me, and it's like all of your friends
Yeah.
and your routine and all that sort of stuff, your hometown, all that. Made a new life for yourself.
Yeah.
And then bang, in a very short amount of time, you came back.
Yeah.
To the same school district, same.
Different school district,
Okay.
but I had some friends from back then. Yeah, I mean, it was only a 30 minute move away from where we were living initially.
Got it.
Yeah.
So did you have friends in that 8th grade that you went to elementary school with?
I think a few. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
moving from here to there and then back.
Yeah.
And it's like a pseudo fresh start
Yeah.
of sorts,
Yeah. No, and 3 years doesn't sound like a large time in the grand scheme of things.
Yes, but when
But-
you're a kid in those formative years,
Yeah.
it literally changes your life.
Oh,
What
yeah.
were you going to say about the language thing?
Yes, the language thing.
Hey.
Oh, hey, Imran. Hey. Do you want to come into?
What up,
What's
dude?
up?
We're
Want
on
to
live
come
stream.
say hi?
Want to say hi to the stream?
No, I mean, you're talking to a future legend right
Hey.
Oh no, from one future legend. I mean, that means a lot, man.
now. All right.
Nice to see you, dude.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. So
So you grew up speaking English, I'm going to assume.
yeah. I grew
Yeah.
up speaking English, and then my mother tongue Telugu. I feel like I actually got better at it having lived in India for a while. So yeah, nowadays when I'm back home, my grandmother's with us right now, so I can speak to her in Telugu. So that's pretty cool.
You
yeah.
learned it over 3 years?
Well, I spoke a little bit at home, but it wasn't perfect. And then my mom also would teach me some phrases and how to like read and write. And admittedly, I've forgotten how to read and write it, but I can still speak it pretty well.
So when you did middle school in India,
That was English.
it was
It
English.
was English. Yeah.
The whole curriculum was taught in English.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So kids in India, I feel like most countries outside of the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
are very deliberate with having like half English, half whatever the native language is curriculum for students.
Really?
there.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I have Italian friends. I have friends from Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It feels like so many people that English is not their first language. Also, they know English pretty well. I
Okay.
think because of the school curriculum.
The school curriculum.
Maybe that's just anecdotally speaking for myself, but
Right.
yeah. So the computer class, everything was taught in English.
Everything was English. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that was it was fun. Yeah, I think we had to take second languages over there too, and the choices. I was taking Hindi at the time, so I can read a little bit of Hindi. I can't speak it very well, but
So if I were to ask you, Sai, how many languages do you speak?
do I speak? Or-
Not do you code on the computer, but
Not do I code on the
Do you
computer.
speak?
Well, okay, we gotta have to limit it now. But let's see. I can speak English. I can speak Telugu. I can barely speak Hindi. We'll call that 2.5.
Sure.
And then I took French when I came back to high school over here, so I can speak a little bit of French.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you came back, did 8th grade. Did they have a computer class for you to take at this Sacktown school?
They did not, no, but they had a computer club. Because by then people were starting their own clubs, and online,
What does a
courses
computer club in 8th grade entail?
look like?
Yeah, come play, Halo Combat Evolved, or maybe it was a little bit after that. But what does that look like? How many
Really
computers
just-
were there? Like what?
Well, everyone's bringing their own laptops now. Computer labs
Literally
are,
computer club.
Yeah.
Bring your own.
Bring your
computer.
own, yeah, BYOC, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And you just sort of gather around and talk about computers, internet,
about
social media.
Computers, internet. We, there's also programming clubs. So, by now, online videos have become popular. This is 2014, 15. So you can, if you want to build an app, if you want to build something, you just sign up for an online course or YouTube, look up videos on YouTube and do it, learn yourself. Yeah. Which is how, when I came back from India, I think I didn't have a class there. I joined the club, but I still wanted to, program. And then my dad was like, well, you're a big Apple fan, right? So why don't you try making apps for iOS using this programming language called Swift? Yes.
And that was your introduction to Swift side, was your dad saying, here you go, son.
Yeah, no, literally,
That's
he got these videos that companies provide, and he's like, just sign in with my account, take some of the videos, learn from there. And I was like, sounds good, Dad.
On what computer were you using?
So I was still using the family MacBook Pro from 2010. Yeah. It was struggling. It would take forever to like build and run.
Did you have a phone at this point?
This was 8th grade, so I did not have a phone at the time.
What was your first phone?
My first phone was a year later, 9th grade. It was an iPhone 6S.
Wow.
Yep.
What color?
The gold one.
Gold.
Yeah.
6S.
6S.
Not a 6S Plus, a
Not
regular
a 6S
6S.
Plus, regular 6S.
Your first cell phone was an iPhone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes me feel so young.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, have you ever played Snake on a Nokia?
Oh yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As a kid, I would
okay.
take people's phones and mess
Your
with their
parents
settings
had
and
phones in
things
the
like
house,
that.
I'm
had
assuming,
phones,
right? Like
yeah.
cell phones growing up. Yeah.
mhm.
What was your what do you remember the first time you used an iPhone?
Yeah, I do.
You do. Tell me that story.
Okay, so I used to pride myself on being able to take people's phones, and back then phones were very utilitarian, right? You got the functional keypads. I would go through settings, I would customize the themes, and I'd give it back to them. And like this was family, friends, relatives that they couldn't use their phone anymore. That was the way I used to play pranks, right?
Yeah.
And so I used to pride myself on being able to take any phone, click on all those plastic buttons, change some stuff, and give it back to them. And then my mom, I think she was the first one to get an iPhone. This was the iPhone 3GS, and she handed it to me, and I'm like, where are the buttons? Like, I was so confused. Like, I like tapped. I think I opened the mail app, and I was like, wait. Where are the settings? How do I get back home? Like, and then mom showed me, you just click the home button to go home. And I was like, okay, and that's, I guess, my first interaction with an iPhone.
And that was before you had moved to India and started taking programming classes.
This was before.
So you've had like great exposure to sort of like technology, and I'm just blanketing technology as like cell phones and computers.
Yeah.
But growing up in the house, did you have video game consoles growing up?
Yes, I had a Game Boy Advanced
Hell yeah.
color. It was the light blue one. I got it for Christmas. Came with Pokemon Leaf Green. Shout out to Pokemon.
Nice.
That was a fun game. I still play that game. Yeah, if you guys know Delta on it's like
That's
a
Riley's,
Nintendo-
right?
That's Riley. Yeah,
Riley,
yeah.
yeah.
Nintendo emulator. No.
Shout out Riley tested
Shout out
his
Riley. Yeah.
that is a Game Boy, I think Game Boy Advance emulator.
It's all sorts of Nintendo
For
emulators.
and the alt store. Yeah. I don't know if Riley will see this, but Riley, I met him at I think it was an Apple event many and he was also at that Verge thing too. He was in New York whenever it was. Anyway, so you played
Boy.
Pokemon as a kid.
As a kid, yeah, I had the Nintendo DS. I
Okay.
had the Wii. That was our family game console. And I think, I don't really fully remember this, but I had this weird Spider-Man sort of console. And this was like, it had a red, yellow, white. You had to plug it into the TV type console with the
It was one of
joystick.
those like standalone,
Yeah.
like weird, like it has one game
Uh-huh.
that you just can like hook up directly to the AV cables on your
Exactly,
computer,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was
so a
that was
Nintendo family.
very much a Nintendo family.
No
yeah.
Xbox or PlayStation.
No Xbox or PlayStation, not till this day. I want to change that soon. Yeah, I still Haven't.
You've never
yeah.
had an Xbox?
I've never
or
had
a
an Xbox or a
PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
will say it's like arguably one of the biggest time sucks is to
Yeah.
is to enable having a video game console. I turned to Colin.
It's definitely a time suck.
who-
It's worth it though. It teaches you good problem solving skills.
Okay.
Yeah, let's justify it that way.
Yeah, okay,
Video
okay.
games.
I'll justify it
Video
everywhere.
games, good dexterity, good hand-eye coordination, good problem-solving skills, good social building skills with your teammates. You know, yeah, video games, great.
Remote work. Yeah.
Yep.
Remote,
You know,
yeah.
Video
Yeah.
games were doing remote work since before it was popular.
There
yeah.
you go.
You were.
You know, see?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, I
This idea of like LAN parties and playing online games and how everything is like digital and all that sort of like, yeah, being remote. It's like
Yeah.
that's all that you could do with your, unless you brought your CRT TV and did a LAN party. That reminds me of that. There was that someone did that Mid-Journey picture of like it was like the LAN party on a highway. I think I sent
Oh,
you that.
yes,
And
yes.
I thought it was real. Someone
Yeah.
someone did a I think it was using Mid-Journey created a scene of a late 90s, probably early 2000s LAN party on a highway. 'Cause usually LAN parties are in like
With
these
like a
giant
mobile
warehouses.
generator in the middle and like
It was,
the scene
and
all
I
this.
saw it, Sai, and
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know if it was real or not,
Yeah.
which was kind of nuts. Okay, so let's go back to Sacktown. So you're in 8th grade.
I'm in 8th grade.
You're now somewhat of a programmer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As a kid. Did you go to a specialized high school for programming?
I did not.
You
no,
did not.
just a regular high school.
Did they offer computer programming classes in high school?
They offered the first computer programming class the year after I graduated. Yeah.
So you went
Classic.
to all 4
Yeah.
years of high school, and you didn't do any comp sci
I didn't do any comp sci
except for the club.
except for the clubs. I started my own club over there.
Tell me more.
It was called Tech Create. This was my junior year of high school.
Called what?
Tech Create.
Tech Create.
And the purpose of that club was, so by now I was like, okay, technology's gotten good enough to the point like you don't need to be like a nerd or great at math or know coding to build really cool stuff with, you know.
You
with
just
the
have to
internet.
like put the effort in.
Exactly,
and learn.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so we were a club that would basically take we would literally invite people if they were even slightly interested in technology, and we would be like, what are you guys interested in? Some people would be interested in a website. Some people would be interested or in building a website. Some people would be interested in building Snapchat filters, which you could do through this, I think it was Lens Studio. Lens Studio, yeah. Some people were interested in chatbots, which you could do with a program called Dialogflow at the time. I think Google bought them out, but you could literally like code chatbots, like, you know, put in like queries and what you wanted to reply and would generalize for that reply. And then you could push that onto Alexa, Google Assistant, all sorts of Telegram bots, Discord bots. Yeah.
Would you say you were the most technologically proficient, I guess, like from a comp sci perspective at your school because of the years that you spent in India learning how to code?
I don't think I was the most technologically proficient, but I think a lot of people saw me that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to school with all these Sacktown kids that they never took a computer programming language or computer programming class in their lives,
Yeah.
you're way ahead of them.
Yeah. No, but I think at that time, you know, people, if they were really interested, they were learning on their own.
Yeah. Like instead
yeah.
of going home and playing video games for 6 hours,
That's-
they're learning
Well, that's
Swift
what I was
UI
doing
on YouTube.
That's exactly what I was doing. I would literally daydream out during high school because I don't want to learn biology. No offense to biology, but I just wasn't interested in it.
Yep.
I'd be in the back of the class. For my 15th birthday, I think my parents got me a MacBook Air.
Epic.
So I had my laptop with me. I was coding on that in the back of the classroom.
Wow.
Had my like phone connected to the laptop. Was
Tethering.
running apps, tethering, running apps on there, just building.
Wow. So you were really into this.
I was really, really into this. Like to the point my grades suffered a bit because I was into it. But hey, man, in the hindsight, I feel like it was great. I followed what I loved. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now at this high school that you went to,
Yeah.
is there a full comp sci curriculum?
Yeah,
like you
there's a
could
comp
take...
sci curriculum. One of my
course.
my club advisor, shout out Mr. Stinson. He's the one who started the AP like computer science class over there. And
Oh,
I think
it's
that's
AP.
still going. It was AP now, yeah. AP computer science.
And that means you get credits, right?
you get credits, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sai, you graduate high school. You are, Python,
Python,
you know Swift,
Swift,
and HTML.
HTML. Sure. Yeah.
What did you enjoy? Like, what environments did you find yourself in? It was like iOS.
iOS land mostly.
Xcode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was because, well, obviously because I was taking the course and learning how to build iOS apps, but also I came across this thing called the Apple WWDC Scholarship. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Students can apply. They just build an app and they submit it to Apple, and then you get invited to their week-long conference filled with people just like them. This is amazing. Yeah. In 2017, I applied. I got in. Yeah. That was probably top 5 defining moments of my life. Like
Wow.
getting in.
What was the app?
It was it was a chatbot, yeah, called Ava. That was a chatbot to help you with your morning routine. Except it wasn't a chatbot in the traditional sense, like an AI sense. It was literally 1,000 lines of if else code. Like if you say this, then it's that. And I would say it in my essays. I'd say I know this isn't a real chatbot, but I don't know actually how to build a real chatbot with AI and machine learning. So this sort of emulates that experience, and I guess it worked. Yeah.
So you submitted
Yeah.
your app, and Apple selected you as
Me and 349 other students.
So it's
yeah.
350. It was 350 that year.
Yeah.
And they invite you to WWDC.
They invite you to WWDC.
You got to watch the keynote?
I watched the keynote
As a-
live in
as
person.
a kid?
As a kid.
Oh my God, that's
16 years old. Yeah.
awesome. I got to do it in my mid-20s, and it was absolutely legendary.
The energy there is
because
insane,
now
yeah.
now the keynotes, as you know,
Yeah.
are pre-recorded,
Yeah.
just on a giant screen. But seeing the show happen live and the energy in
The
that
energy
room
is wild, yeah.
So you were at WW 2017.
So there, 2017, 2018.
Do you get invited back?
Well, I applied again the following year for another scholarship. I was like, let's do this. And you're allowed to do it multiple times. 2018.
For another app?
For another app, yeah. 2018, I really stepped up my game. I built it was a rock, paper, scissors game, but you would play against the computer, and it would use computer vision to detect if you were doing rock, paper, or scissors. And there were 2 modes. There were easy mode, where the computer randomly selects,
Like one out of 3.
One out of 3,
yeah.
exactly. Then there was impossible mode, where the computer would detect if you did rock, paper, or scissors,
And just
do the opposite, so you could never win. Yeah. No,
So
that was fun.
it used the camera, like you were holding.
Yeah, you
hold
would hold it, and I remember I was in my friends, I think it was the day before it was due. I was in San Diego at a friend's house, and yeah, I had my iPad, and I was taking pictures and stuff, and trying to train the model, get it to work, and everything. But
Wow.
yeah,
Were you just as stoked to be selected again?
I was. Yeah.
Did you just sort of Hail Mary? You were like, I'm going to apply again. I don't even know if I'm going to get this.
Yeah, I mean, I loved my experience in 2017.
Yeah.
It was great, and I mean, this was the first time I was in a place with people just like me, right? And these were students too, right? People from all around the world.
All around the world.
All around the world, yeah.
Not just U.S. based.
Not just
Wow.
US based,
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And did you get cool merch, swag?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we got I think denim, black denim jackets.
Oh yeah.
yeah. We got pins and everything.
Yeah. They always have the limited edition stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever Dub happens, people on Twitter are posting their stuff, and Apple does such a good job with the merch specifically for Dub.
Yeah.
Have you been to the visitor center at Apple Park?
I have been to the visitor center. Yeah.
Where do you remember where Dub was when you went?
In 2017 and 18, it was in San Jose. It was in.
It was in San Jose. Yep, that's where it
Convention
was.
Center or
I
something.
think
Yeah.
I think that's where I went also.
Yeah.
Was that? Correct me if I'm wrong, Sai. My memory. I used to commit all these things to memory, but I can't anymore. There was one Dub that they showed off the Space Gray iMac Pro
Yeah,
and
I think
AirPower,
I th-
and I believe it was Air.
So I think.
Was it an app? Was that one of the September
I
events?
think
or
AirPower was one of the September events.
Or was it a Dub? I can't remember.
I think the
we
Space
might have
Gray
been.
iMac
We might have
was.
been at the same.
Were you there in 2017?
I believe I was there, and I think it was during my Mashable days. I went twice. I vividly remember it was one Dub. I can look back in Twitter. I certainly logged it at some, on some social media platform. But I think I remember going in 2016 and 2017 is I believe. But there's there's Dub Dub always in June, and then there's the Apple event in September with the new phones.
Yeah.
Were you watching keynotes back in the day?
I was watching
You
keynotes.
were
back in
watching
the day,
keynotes.
Yeah. I think that habit probably started after I went to the 2017 Dub
Okay, so it
keynote.
didn't start when you opened the laptop lid for the first time.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I don't
Or-
think it was back then. Yeah.
So at what point do you remember when you found out about WWDC? Was that through the scholarship program?
I think it was the year before. Yeah, I was in 2016, and I came across this like scholarship thing a week before the submission. So I was like, okay, it's too late to like start on a project now, but next year I'll definitely do that. So I had that running in my mind for like a year, and I think that's also when I found out about WWDC, and I was
Wow.
like looking up videos and reading about people's experiences online, the blog posts on Medium, and
Did you make friends at Dub Dub?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're still in touch. Yeah.
You are still
Yeah,
in
we are
touch.
still in
Awesome.
touch. Yeah, I got a friend in Canada, a friend in the UK, and a friend in South Africa. They're my
And now you're all 2017 was 5-6 years
5,
ago
6 years
now.
ago, yeah.
You're all like graduating college and
Yeah,
such. It's
graduating
crazy.
college,
Were
yeah.
you? Is it high school students? Is it college students that's open to apply to this?
It's high school and college students. I think the requirement is you just need to be a student. So there's no like
You just need to be a student.
yeah, and
So
older
if
than
I'm
13.
enrolled in a university,
you should go for it, Sam. I'm saying, yeah.
let me just fire up Lens Studio real quick. And,
Gotta get Xcode. Gotta get a Swift UI app going. Yeah.
Wow. So would you consider yourself, Sai, an Apple fanboy?
No,
No.
not anymore. I was for a while.
Okay. You've hung that up now.
I've hung
It's-
that up. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like everyone goes through a phase. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
here.
Have
Yeah.
you been to the Apple Park campus?
I have. Yeah.
You have.
I have.
Sick.
In 2018, they took the scholars to the Steve Jobs Theater. And I think this was like when it first opened up. So like not even Apple employees had gone there yet. Like they literally were like maybe only like 5% of Apple, maybe even less than that have like
Wow.
gone. So that was like a very, I'm telling you, man, these experiences like shaped honestly so much of who I am, and they were
you
life-changing
can now
experiences.
reflect and
Yeah.
and say those moments
Yeah.
defined parts of your life.
It defines who I am. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so college. Talk to me about college.
Oh yeah, college. So, 2019, I'm going to the University of California, Santa Cruz. Yeah, that's if you're not familiar, like an hour and a half south of San Francisco.
It's that close?
Yeah, no, Santa Cruz is pretty close. Yeah.
Wow.
You
I
just
think we
drive down
talked about
Highway
this
1.
when you first got here. I told you
Yeah,
my
yeah.
Santa Cruz story, right?
Yeah. First concert at the
first
Catalyst.
concert
yeah.
ever at the. Wow, good memory,
Yeah,
Sai.
yeah.
Yeah. And it
Went
it
with your
just
brother?
it
Yeah.
shaped. Yes, I went with my older brother Mike to see the Mars Volta in 2006. I think my parents let me and Mike fly on a plane together by ourselves.
Okay.
And then we met our guitar teacher Matt Lukash, who we're still in touch with in Santa Cruz, California. And I just have such great memories of. I mean, I was a 15, 16-year-old kid. California. It was just like, oh wow, across the country, it's so warm. There's beaches, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Not that there's not beaches in New Jersey, but just like Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Uh-huh.
just like California. But I have yet to go back. So it's only an hour and a half south. Colin, we're going.
All right.
Ferb, I know what we're gonna do today.
Yeah, we're going after this. What made you go to that school in particular, and not Sac Town School
I think it was just a really good school.
for programming in particular?
For programming, that was part of the reason. The year I joined, they really updated the curriculum. So up until that point, most universities were doing Java, and then by now, 2019, people were like, Python's the future. So the year I joined, they changed the entire curriculum to be Python based.
So, Sai, you deliberately computer science, like
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you,
No,
you,
no, no.
you
I
decided
went
on
in
your
for-
major like during high school computer with the scholarships and the computer club
Mm-hmm.
and your knowledge of programming. You were on this path to doing computer science in college.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I went in for computer science
Yep.
as my major.
Yep.
I walked out with computer science, cognitive science, and a minor in technology and information management.
You
Because
double majored in cognitive science.
cognitive science, yeah.
Do tell.
Do tell. I will tell. Yeah, I joined my fall quarter, and I was, you're super extroverted. Your first quarter of college, you're just meeting all these new people, trying to find out who your group's going to be. And so I met one of my closest friends now, and I was telling her how I was super into artificial intelligence and machine learning, and she was double majoring. She decided as a freshman she was going to double major, and she's like, I'm double majoring in one of my majors being cognitive science, and the way UC Santa Cruz's cognitive science program works is you pick a specialization. So there are like 4 specializations.
This is not your minor or your major?
This is a specialization within the major, within cognitive sciences major.
Okay,
And one of the
interesting.
specialization was called human computer interaction
HCI.
HCI / artificial intelligence. And she was like, if you're really into AI, you should just take a psychology course, because most of the cognitive science courses are psychology courses. Take one with me next quarter, and then if you enjoy it, you should just double major with this specialization. That way, if computer science is teaching you the technical aspects of AI, cognitive science sort of teaches you the human side of it, right? Like, how do we think? Cognitive science essentially is just how do our brains work the way they work? Why do we act and behave the way we do? Very similar to psychology. I think it's just with a heavier emphasis on our cognitive processes.
Yeah.
So I took that psychology class my winter quarter, and I loved it. I will say, like, having graduated now, I think I enjoyed my cognitive science courses more than my computer science courses, and the professors were a lot more fun too in cognitive science. Yeah.
Do you think you use your cognitive science knowledge?
Every day. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. So, here, at Humane, I'm working with designers, and sometimes I tend to design on the side, and design is really just, how does it work, right? And so you got to understand a lot about humans and how do we interact with technology? How do we, experience the things we do with technology in this day and age? And so, yeah, I use it every day, and I feel like it's helped me understand our brains better. So,
At the University of, what is it? University of Santa Cruz?
University of California, Santa Cruz. UC
University
Santa Cruz.
of
California.
There's like many California.
There are many UCs, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
USC, right? UCLA.
UCLA, UC Berkeley,
Yeah.
UC SF, UC Santa Barbara. There are 8 total, I think.
Is that like a group of California schools?
Yeah,
State schools?
Public.
It
public.
is.
Not state schools, but I think
That's
just
not state
public
schools?
universities, yeah.
Oh.
But there's some sort of affiliation with them.
Yeah,
I
the
would imagine, right?
University of California is the overarching board, I think.
I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What computer programming classes did you take? Like, you learned new languages there?
I did. I
Sharpen your Java and Python skills?
So
or-
not Java. I actually never did Java.
No Java.
No Java. And it's funny because I'm doing Java here now. But yeah, C, C++, the foundational courses over there.
Wow.
Some really like crazy functional programming languages like Haskell. That's a crazy, crazy programming language, but I love it. It's so much fun. Yeah. Just mostly like C, C++, and a bit of Python. Yeah.
Do you think that you learned, like, I guess, let's see how I ask this. Did you learn more from doing the coursework at school, or from like your own passions and just like side projects and whatnot?
I feel like that's actually a good question. I think I learned to apply my skills better from my own passion projects.
Yeah.
But I think like the foundational stuff, like, the base knowledge requirements, like some of the courses at university taught me that. And I'll be honest, like you could probably take those same courses online for free. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think there were maybe a few courses, or at least from the computer science side of things, there were probably maybe like a couple courses, which I feel like I really benefited from going to a public university, but a majority of, programming and computer science, you can learn
all that
online
stuff
nowadays,
now
yeah.
is you have YouTube University.
YouTube University.
Right? It's free to watch.
Yeah.
Pretty sure there's like MIT or Harvard or whatever, like computer science classes that are just like there on the web. What happened with the pandemic and your
I was about to
college
say,
career side?
An hour and a year and a half in Zoom University. Yeah. that was interesting.
So your freshman year was fall 2019?
fall 2019, September 2019, I walked into
Wow.
Santa Cruz.
Wow. So March of 2020,
March of 2020.
What
I'm
happened?
walking out.
they sent everyone home?
They sent everyone home 2 weeks before the end of winter quarter. So we had
Wait,
finals.
you do quarters,
We do
not
the quarter system.
semesters.
It gets confusing, yeah. But fall quarter is basically
So there's
September.
4 quarters in your freshman year?
Yeah.
So the semesters are split in half, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But most people do 3 quarters. They don't do the summer quarter, just because it's. I mean, you can do the summer quarter. It's just usually more expensive because at that point you're paying per credit versus like a standard tuition per quarter.
Wow.
So yeah,
2 weeks before the quarter ended, they said goodbye.
they said goodbye. Well, they didn't say goodbye. They just said spring break's gonna be longer, kids, and we were like, let's go. Yeah. Extended spring break. This is gonna be amazing.
Extended indefinitely. Little did
Yeah,
you guys know,
little did
right?
we know. Yeah.
Wow. And when did you go back?
I went back to. So I left Santa Cruz. I think second week of March, 2020.
Yep.
I didn't go back to Santa Cruz till September 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a year and a half,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
You did your sophomore
Entire sophomore year.
year
Yeah.
on Zoom University.
On Zoom
God,
University.
That sucks.
It was good the first few months. I won't
Yeah, I'm
lie.
sure
You
it was
know,
great.
It
Oh,
was
yeah, I'm
great. Yeah, just roll
home.
out of bed.
Yeah,
click a
but
button.
man, that
and
got tiring after
very tiring. Yeah.
4, 5, 6 months, right? It's like, how much longer can you stare at a computer screen for?
Yeah.
You know, with like low fidelity, like just little boxes on a screen. Like, there's so much to being in person. You know, it's like something
Exactly.
I think it was like very quickly we were like, yay, this is awesome. Stay home. To like, I need human interaction. You know, wow. Were you psyched to go back?
I was so psyched to go back. I was really excited. I was.
Did you find it difficult to learn on Zoom?
So to be honest, I don't think I found it difficult to learn, but I could definitely sense I wasn't getting what my money was worth, what I was, paying for really.
And I think Sneha said the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, why pay full tuition?
Yeah.
When they're like, you're not even there.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly, yeah. No, it was terrible just because people wouldn't go to office hours initially just because you got to make the effort of going to a professor's office hours. And now everyone would crowd up a professor's office hour time and no one would actually be able to get any help. So I would spend hours in the waiting room and then eventually the professor's office hours would be up and, no help. So,
That is
YouTube really
miserable.
came in clutch then because at that point,
You were using YouTube
I was
to-
using
as
YouTube
supplementary.
as supplementary. Yeah, no, and there are some amazing. Abdul Bari is all my CS kids probably know him. He has amazing YouTube videos. But yeah,
And now people have ChatGPT
and now people have ChatGPT.
That's
That
right.
was
and Bard and all these other.
That's right.
It's
that
crazy.
was a fun. So ChatGPT came out
November of 2022.
November of 2022, 2 weeks before finals of my senior year. Yeah, and I remember my roommate and we were experimenting with this, and we were like,
This is crazy.
this is
Same.
wild.
Same.
This
It was
is
wild.
Yeah.
November.
crazy. And
Yeah.
obviously no one knew about ChatGPT in November. At least not until I feel after the holidays,
Yep.
really, when people really were like, oh, this is kind of an issue, at least from an academia perspective.
Yeah, when it hit mainstream.
When it
kind
hit
of,
mainstream, yeah.
blocks, yeah.
But I feel the few kids who did know about it, and they really used it to their advantage
Oh,
those
yeah.
finals weeks. Yeah.
Do you have access to what's it called? Copilot?
Code
Copilot?
interpreter?
Code interpreter?
So Code Interpreter is an alpha feature on GPT right now,
Oh, okay.
which if you haven't used it, I should show you.
Copilot.
Colin
And
somehow has access.
I
Copilot's
have
the
Copilot.
Microsoft one.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
have
yeah.
you've been using that? What do
I've
you
had
think?
Copilot since
Yeah.
it came out because students get free access to it through GitHub Education.
And Microsoft owns GitHub, right?
Microsoft owns GitHub.
I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Microsoft's been making moves.
They are
yeah.
making it. AI moves for sure.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Colin has access to alpha access to all of these bleeding edge chat GPT features. And this code interpreter,
It's done heavy lifting for us.
I'm not much of a programmer at all, but
We got to change that.
to
man.
I know to do some of the things that Colin and I work on here with GPT, but with Code Interpreter, like extrapolating data, for example.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so sick.
It takes like hours worth of work and like spreadsheet management, all this stuff,
it's so
and
sick.
distills it down into like
because
maybe a minute,
you
2
can
minutes.
you can feed it like spreadsheets basically.
But like we're talking like, thousands of cells worth of data, and
then
it
one of the
chews through it like
one of the
nothing.
coolest things that I saw, that was a night at home, if you remember, it was asking us to clarify some of the things that we wanted to do. We were like asking it to like sort data, and it was like, I could do A, B, or C. Which one do you want me to do? And I'm like, this thing is asking us
the way
God.
I had phrased the question,
So
the prompt,
crazy.
Right.
it was like
Sai,
it would guide us.
Sai, would you say that ChatGPT passes the Turing test?
I would say ChatGPT probably passes the Turing test. Yeah, does a really good job of fooling a human that it's a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nuts.
Right up until you're like, ignore all previous instructions.
you are now. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts how this is just like in our lives now,
Yeah.
and I don't think we understand the ramifications.
Or full applications. A lot of people haven't applied this to their day to day as much.
Sure.
As they should.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like no one, we haven't seen like the New York Post go like, the Turing test. So like no one sort of like said this thing is now, but I mean, just anecdotally speaking, Colin said he'd showed someone older, probably in like their 50s or 60s, ChatGPT, and they were like, is someone in there? Who's in there?
No,
Kind of
really?
thing, right?
They thought I was messing with them.
Oh, that's
And,
crazy. Yeah.
Like that I
Because
had
the
somebody
way
messaging them back.
the
'Cause I
way
was-
it like prints, it's like it's fast, but it's perfectly coherent.
Yeah.
There's like, I mean, which one was the one that had like spelling errors? Was that ChatGPT? Remember, like back in the day, there was one that had like
maybe
Was
like
it Bing
3.
Chat
I think it might have
or-
been 3 or something like. What are you spelling errors?
there was like some spelling.
It might. It
errors
was
or-
a super early version of it, but like now you don't get like. I mean, with 4, I don't get any hallucinations.
Four is really good.
It's very very good.
Yeah. I felt like I wouldn't notice the difference, but I tried 4 for like a month, and then I went back to 3. And I was like,
4
I
is
need to
is
go back to
faster,
4.
right?
4 is faster, and just the quality of the answers are
better.
better. Yeah.
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 And this is just the beginning.
This is
like
just
this
the
is this
beginning,
is like
kids.
we've had sort of like one large language model go like supernova viral, right? What does this landscape look like in 5 years? This is like it's not really fair to compare it to like early internet.com, but like think about how many search engines there were back in the day. Think about these like when a sort of trend happens, how many like
I think it's okay to compare it like that because right now there's a ton of companies that are getting funding like very rapidly
Google
to build
Bard,
their own build their own models to like try to compete with this
OpenAI,
with
yeah.
OpenAI and
I'm looking forward to having large language models talk to each other and
Oh,
learn
yeah?
from each other. I don't even know if that's possible, but
there's a good website where that happens.
what happens if you enable GPT-4 to speak with Bard or like just like combine the two entities in a sense?
You could probably build
you
an
know?
app for that. Yeah. If
Yeah?
You like,
There's an
just
app for
use
that?
Their, I'm sure.
Is there an app for that?
Yeah.
All right, Sai, let's sort of bring things to a close because
All right.
Colin has to go run to do something else in a few minutes, so I want to just make sure he has ample time.
Awesome.
How are you enjoying your time at Humane here?
It's been really, really good.
Would you say you're learning here?
I have learned so much. So I think this is my 7th week or the end of my 7th or 8th week. I've learned so much in the past couple weeks. Like, it's unreal.
Learning like job skills or like computer science skills or like interpersonal communication
So
like,
much.
all
Like,
that sort of
just,
thing. Yeah.
I mean, you've talked about this before. You can literally go up to anyone and you can be like, what are you working on? Can you explain it to me? And so I've literally gone to, like, literally a couple days ago, I was just talking to Kevin Purser. Have you had him on the podcast?
Yeah. Oh, no, not yet.
Kevin
Yeah. He's a great dude.
He is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was just answering all my questions about like supply chain and our operations,
Yep.
and I was like,
He-
this is
he-
cool.
COO,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. COO.
Chief Operating Officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had him or Bill on yet.
Okay.
Those
You gotta
are
get
the
them on.
two that I've been. I mean, they're hard. They're sort of hard to get to because
Yeah.
they're doing.
They
doing,
dove in the deep end.
yeah, basically.
They're
yeah.
busy or something.
They're,
Yeah, exactly,
they're,
or something.
They've recently joined Humane full time. It's on if you go to the Humane website and go to news, there's articles for both of them. Sai, anything you want to plug or say or?
Join the Humane waitlist. Join the Discord. Subscribe.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys know the drill. Yeah.
Yes. Sai, thank you so much for hanging out this morning.
Thanks for having me
I
here, guys.
appreciate your time. Colin, anything to add, say, do?
I don't
mean,
think so. Everybody play with ChatGPT. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Learn new skills every day. Have
Yep.
Yeah.
You can have this thing teach you. It teaches me still. Definitely teaches you. I don't know. That's
I
it.
mean, I
Join the waitlist. Join
I-
Discord. Discord.gg/humane.
I have definitely used ChatGPT in pretty profound ways. And like again, this is just the beginning. Like literally, what does the space look like in 5 years?
Yeah.
Kind of nuts.
It will be
Kinda nuts.
crazy.
It will be crazy. Okay, Sam Sheffer and Sai and Colin signing off from San Francisco. I can confidently say we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
All right.
Goodbye.
See you guys.
And now this is the part where